it's one of the fantastic things about being an artist is it's like you're to be blessed with these different ideas. And, I love thinking about the meaning behind different words, like the word genius, like where the word genius actually comes from is this idea of literally like spirits speaking ideas into you, like ideas coming, we've had those experiences where it feels like the idea just came to you, right?
A light bulb moment. Yeah.
Light bulb moment. Yeah. So it's like you being blessed as the vessel for these ideas to come through.
Yeah.
Right. We say like you have passion, or is it rather that passion has you?
The approach to making kind of fantastical elements feel real, and I think you just covered it, is like you start with the face so that you see a creature, you see a person, you see the soul of what you're making, so you can have a relationship with it. Like, that's so cool.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because like when you can feel it, there's always a point in the process where I can feel like a life force coming through. I'm really reminded of what Michelangelo said is like that he would chip away the stone to reveal the angel that he could see underneath.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a revealing element that happens.
So the big question is this: how are creators like us, who aren't built for the 9-to-5, for the people who put their passion before them being comfortable, how do we turn that passion into a living that pays the bills and a life that we love? That is the question. This podcast will give you the answers. My name is Noah Mittman, and welcome to Conversations with Creators.
Welcome back to Conversations with Creators. I am your host, Noah Mittman, and joining me today is the incredibly talented illustrator, painter, everything around that, Matt Maes. Welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Noah. And I have to acknowledge and be grateful for like how far that I've gotten with your coaching. Because
I
was coaching with you for quite some time, and man, the strides that I was able to make to get to the point where I'm at right now, just super happy. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I was doing creative business coaching with Matt, and for a couple years, right?
I think it was for a couple of years, maybe a year and a half or two, something like that.
Check and making sure he was on task and reaching his goals. And man, I love hearing that. That's awesome.
Oh yeah. Mad respect.
So let's dive into that. So tell me about, I think we've talked about it a little bit, but tell me about your journey of getting into the world of mythical art and what initially drew you to that genre.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've always loved art since I was 7 years old, and have always been a huge fan of storytelling in all different forms, whether it was video games, movies, TV shows, what have you, and always been like a very big reader, so I read a lot of books and had a lot of books read to me when I was very young. But where I really got started was with video games. So there was this one day in particular where my best friend at the time and I were playing Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, still one of the all-time greatest games ever made. And we were taking a break. We go up to his attic and he presents me with a pencil and paper I'd never drawn before, right? And I have the cover of the Mario 64 game in my hand. And I just felt so inspired seeing the cover with Mario with this flying cap and the castle in the background. So I attempted to emulate the lines on the cover, right? I just felt this incredibly euphoric feeling that I'd never felt before, that it's really never left since then. Just that pure joy of creativity. That's really when I fell in love with drawing, when I was 7 years old, and just have always been chasing that feeling in so many different forms, So I've experimented with airbrush. I've been to school for media arts and animation. So got some experience with 3D modeling, which was also really mind blowing. When I was like, oh my God, I can build things in 3D on the computer, but after a while, I really found my way back to my first love of illustration. That's really where my heart is. And it was a number of years ago, in particular, that I watched the Power of Myth interviews with Joseph Campbell and Bill Moyers on Netflix that really kind of lit the pilot light for me. So I've like had mythic figures kind of show up in my art subconscious, but that was really the point where I was like, there was something very real and substantial, and there's a purpose behind this, and I felt compelled more than any other point in my life that art and storytelling for me were meant to go together, and that I'm meant to bring through this symbolic, beautiful, vast world of myth through the art. And, one of the first things I realized was just how underrepresented it seems in the art world, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we have these different genres that come out of mythology, we have fantasy, we have sci-fi, and it's like the derivative from mythology. But for me, I'm like, where are the people who describe themselves as mythic artists? Like, where are the people who are going straight back to these mythic figures? And so I that's what I love to do. That's what I feel my calling is. And I love being able to pour my curiosity into the craft through, I've always just been a very, very curious person. I love to think about how things work, and symbolism and meaning and spirituality, being able to make the art really a prism for that, and to be able to connect with others in that way. That's one of the reasons why I love archetypal figures, is because they're representative of parts of ourselves, of parts of the human psyche. And so when you can really depict that for people in a way that they can connect with, one of the most powerful things that you can do with art is have it be a way for people to find themselves within the art and have it reflect back.
That's what good art does.
That's what, because then, you're able to help that person see something within themselves through what you were able to create. And that's just a magnificent thing to be able to do. I'm just incredibly humbled to be able to connect with people in that way.
I think that's why art of all kinds is so important and so needed, because exactly that experience, it helps you find yourself. It helps you, everybody's got their favorite things in life, and that is art. And so for you to be on the journey to help people have that experience is just it's funny. It reminds me of, there's a tattoo I want to get. I don't really get text a lot, but I do want to get the saying, a life lived for art is never a life wasted.
Oh man, yes, I love it.
Isn't that so good? It's a Macklemore line, and it just has stuck with me so long. Yeah. By the way, I've asked the origin story question to so many people, and I think that was the best storytelling and setup of the spark that I've ever heard. Good job.
Thank you. Well, man, I love being able to answer that. And thank you so much for asking.
Yeah, absolutely. So how do you, obviously the mythical kind of creatures and stories have very deep cultural and historic roots. How do you research and get the inspiration for your artwork that, when you decide to take on a myth?
Well, yeah, I'll find research really wherever I can. And I'll want to cross analyze whatever between different sources, because one thing that we got to be aware of is that that there's like the original stories, that like there's the original translation and meaning, and like the substance within it, right? And there's also derivatives, right? There's also like people, like like the meanings have changed over time. Or more, to put it more accurately, like people have arbitrarily decided to change the meanings over time. So you got to be really careful with certain things, right? So that's where a lot of my my own kind of spiritual and religious journey has kind of informed me, because I grew up Christian, and I remember when I first got to Colorado, I I bounced around between different churches, and I oscillated between like feeling that really genuine connection and that joy from being in that experience and being Christian, having that God connection, right?
Yeah.
But simultaneously, this I don't know what else to call it, a disease, that feeling of disease,
Yeah.
right? And I felt like I can't really reconcile this with this, and I have to figure this out, right?
Where do you think that
But,
came from?
well, I know exactly where it came from. It came from the psychological ties to an institution, which is attempting to point to a thing, but in itself is incomplete and
Yeah.
and full of fantasy in a lot of ways, right? And
Like choosing which parts of the Bible you want to actually live by and not others, and all this just crap.
well, it's kind of ironic, like this, like you'll see how church leaders, like people, they'll like cherry pick different parts of the Bible.
Yeah.
But ironically, stepping outside of it, you have to be careful which parts of the Bible you really absorb, because there are some which have been placed there intentionally, because it's like there's a lot of really good wisdom and a lot of nourishment and things that you can actually gain from the Bible, like really truly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really good substance there, but there's also a lot of crap, and so you gotta watch out. But so to round that out, I'll never forget, there was this one day where I was stumbling around on YouTube, and I found this video. This guy, I think his name was Ray Hagens. Anyway, he's very into Egypt, very into the Kemet, and whether you take his interpretation out, whatever, So what I discovered in a video, what he showed, he went to Egypt. He went to the pyramids. He saw all this iconography, and he took pictures of their statues and their vignettes and all that type of stuff. And so he kind of compared that with the Bible. Just like, hey, look, they have the Trinity over here, and they have all the stuff over here, just like in the Bible. And so my being able to see that and be open to that with the state of being that I was in, which was like, I really want to know, like, I really want to know, like, what the hell is going on here, so my being able to see that with my own eyes, I realized, well, I don't have to like believe what I thought I had to believe anymore. And so that really led me path through the door of, well, it's either, it's all real or it's all bullshit. And at the time, I was just happy to not have to, be bound to where I thought I had to believe anymore. So
yeah. That's a big thing that I found, honestly, is like, there's so much, how much fighting and bloodshed over the years over like which religion is correct. I'm like, by the way,
dude,
it's all the same shit.
language is
it's just cool. Semantics. It's semantics. It's all the same idea. Be a good person, live a good life, and live, whether it's religion or spirituality. Like I'm pretty against organized religion in general, because I think it's done more harm than good, but I'm very spiritual. So like, I get, I have my own thing, but like, 100%. When you see similar stories in different religions, you're like, there's no right answer. It's all the same stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So, so after that, I became admittedly very atheistic, and I was
yeah, makes sense.
I think about
I've
it,
grown
right?
more atheist over
Like,
time, I will say.
what's that?
I've grown more atheist over time.
I
Just,
I
you know.
do. I really do. So, so what I found though was that I couldn't find like the nourishment. I mean, it's still
Yeah.
like the idea to me of
It's almost like
not
with relationship with yourself.
not having, yeah, like not having the idea of like not having a soul or a spirit was just it's just inconceivable to me. You know,
Yeah.
I just had through life experience. I know otherwise, right? I've experienced
Right.
otherwise, and so I started paying attention to people who I recognized weren't like fire and brimstone type Christians, whatever, mentioning God, talking about God, and
Yeah.
and that kind of opened my mind up a little bit, and I went like, well, is there something that perhaps they know that I don't quite understand yet, you know? But what it really took is having experiences from that state that I couldn't explain with my logical mind. As at the time, I was very much a person where if I couldn't wrap my mind around it, then it like didn't exist. Like I wouldn't, pay any credence. I wouldn't pay any attention to it.
Yeah.
I had to be open to things that were beyond what I could explain or what I could see other people could logically explain, and realized that if you think what's real is based on what you can understand, it's a very bottom up way of looking at the world. Because the reality of the world and the magnificence and the vastness of the world does not diminish itself to our understanding. We have to expand ourselves to understand it.
Love that. I love that.
You know?
Yes,
So
that's exactly right.
In realizing that from taking that point of view, then it's like, well, I want to expand, and I really, I really want to understand. So going back to, I know I've gone on.
No, I love, dude. That's why I love this. It's just like, man, we talk, I have my questions, but I just like conversations.
So
back to inspiration. No, it is. I mean, it's that's it, at a basic form. Mythology does dive a lot into spirit and religion.
Oh yeah, and that's what really made me fall in love with it, is because it's a container for all these different wisdom traditions. It's a container for all of the storytelling, all of the. I mean, it's just so badass, It's,
yeah,
So that curiosity and the immensity and the vibrance for it, and really my innate love of finding meaning within things. It's all there. Mythology it's just all right there. And
stories forever. There's myths forever. Like it just keeps going.
Yeah. So
it'll be a lifetime pursuit.
Oh, big time. So with that point of view, it's like I want to simultaneously do justice to each one of the figures. I want to research who is this figure? Like, what do they represent? What else may be related? I've always been a person that I love to like connect the dots between different things. So if I can find some substantial meaning in this field or here and tie this in, I want the art to be a vessel for that, so people can simultaneously feel and see multiple different things that all contribute to this whole ensemble that this figure represents.
Yeah.
So I'm not just like, this figure represents this, I'm gonna, it's whatever that Lakshmi wealth, like, yeah, just a bunch of like, no, yes, but also all this meaning in the characteristic way that I feel it coming through. And it's one of the fantastic things about being an artist is it's like you're gonna be blessed with these different ideas. And I love thinking about the meaning behind different words, like the word genius, like where the word genius actually comes from is this idea of literally like spirits speaking ideas into you, like ideas coming. We've had those experiences where it feels like the idea just came to you, right?
A light bulb moment. Yeah.
Light bulb moment. Yeah. So it's like you being blessed as the vessel for these ideas to come through.
Yeah.
Right. So
I love what Jason Silva says on this whole thing of like, it's exactly that. Like you're just the vessel for, and that's the thing. That's why like spirituality, I that's the thing. Kind of atheist, but also very much believe in the power of spirit, the power of, basically my closest like avatar is, I think, the closest I can say to like what I like. We're connected to everything. It's vibrations. It's all that. But when you open yourself up to be willing to get ideas, they strike, and it comes like, where the hell does that come from? Like, did you? It's you've accepted it, and it's just this kind of unknowable, but you get to now bring it into the world and make it a thing, which is the coolest thing ever.
It is, and when you really are open to that, the way I like to think of it is, it's like, in a way, it's like the ideas chose you for
right.
yeah, to be able to come through, and it's like we've
been blessed with the idea,
or we could say the energy that comes through as well. Like you could say, we say like, you have passion, or is it rather that passion has you? Is it rather that intelligence has you? Is it rather
you're going to be just the walking soundbite on this thing, man? Epic. Yeah. Do you have passion, or does passion have you? Because passion is definitely a thing that some people don't have.
Yeah.
Or that they haven't allowed themselves or seeked out having a relationship with passion.
Yes. Because when you have that, it's like, it is like you're possessed with something. Possessed with something in a beautiful way. Right. And
it gets you up at 5 a.m. excited to get to work.
Yeah. Valena would be she'd be tripping out. I talk about Kobe all the time. Oh my God, she's so patient. Anyways, she knows I'm a huge fan of Kobe Bryant, and I became a fan of his after he died. And I watched this interview where he talked about just how damn much this man loved basketball, like truly, like since very, very, very young, and the way that just about every single thing in his life funneled into his love of basketball and becoming the best basketball player he could possibly be.
Oh, he was an absolute, like, he had a master's degree in basketball, basically.
Oh my God. So I saw that. Now, when I watched that interview, that changed me. That was inspirational. Beyond inspirational to me, because like when he talks about the obsession with the craft, right? Not just you're interested, not just like, no, but like when you were all in, man, and I saw that and I'm like, you know what? Fuck yeah. I am obsessed. I am obsessed to be the best painter, the best artist, the best storyteller, all of that I can possibly be, and like how far you can go when you follow that obsession to the absolute degree, the absolute length that you can go. Yeah.
It reminds me of the quote, find what you love and let it kill you.
Yeah. Right.
Like absolutely. there's no better way to live life than just absolutely putting everything in until you're dead because you've done so much.
Truly. And for those who might not be as familiar with Kobe Bryant, this is a guy who, like all the other players, they would talk about his work ethic, right? And
Mamba mentality.
Like he would be like, they would be at the club, he would be at the gym. They would be up at like 9 a.m. He would be up literally at 3.
Same with Jordan, by the way.
Right? Oh yeah, and that's why they were so connected too. Literally, Kobe called Michael Jordan his big brother, right?
Wow.
So yeah, and so when he first came into the NBA, he went to what he called Goat Mountain, right? He went to Goat Mountain. He talked to Michael Jordan. He talked to Magic Johnson. He talked to all these guys. Like, what do you do? What's your level of detail? All that stuff. He just like dead focused, right? It's like, wow, like so. So my son, he's a big sports fan. He loves sports, loves all kinds of sports. And we have this sports shop, literally a short walk away. And I saw this plaque there. I haven't been as into sports as he is. He loves sports. And I saw this plaque, and it was a Kobe Bryant rookie card and a picture of him from behind, like waving to the crowd. I'm like, okay, Papa's, that's who Papa. And so I have this plaque hanging in my studio. I call it my studio, which is half study, half studio. It's like I got the mama watching me light a good fire in the ass to work hard and make that shit happen.
So the art in the back, I want to get more, but the first one that I got is exactly that. So it's holding on to a rocket ship, because that's what I want my business, my life, my everything to feel like. I want it to just be like this fucking let's go, always improving, always reaching the next level. That mentality, it's a mentality to see every single day and have that, manifested basically.
That's it.
I love it, man. I love it. I want to basically, when we get the log house, when we build our dream home, I'm basically going to buy out the entire site of it's called Iconic, Ikonik, I believe, something similar to that. But their artwork, that's from Iconic, and it's just the dopest shit. Like, it's all that mentality. I just want to be surrounded by the right mentality constantly.
Yes.
Yeah. So speaking of that, walk me through. So like you get the inspiration, you get the, you get excited. Talk to me about your creative process from from when the idea channels itself through you to completion. What does that look like?
Absolutely. So I'll start with curiosity. That's the spark. That's the, keeping my antennas open to inspiration, like, going through different research and, writing a lot of things down. And I'll take that and then I'll go to the sketch. I'll use like a little, a piece of paper or something like that. And I'll get a good enough idea of what it is that I want to put onto the full piece. Right. And with that sketch, I can go pretty detailed. My goals for that are the composition and any minute detail that I think might be important. And that's my favorite part of the process, really, is composition, because that allows me to direct the eyes. It allows me to place the different elements in there that I want to very quickly. So then I'll take that sketch and then I'll make a grid out of it. I'll put that grid on canvas. So like, say I've got a 36 by 48 inch piece, which my first big series, the Edge of Myth series, is all 36 by 48 inch canvas. So it was pretty key to measure for that. So, so once I have that grid on there, then I'll take that outline and I'll replicate that onto the canvas as accurately as I can with the pencil. And then once that's laid out, then I'll start in with the acrylic paint. I typically use acrylic paint. I've started bringing an airbrush. Pretty soon I'm going to start bringing in some translucent oils, even I've started to play with watercolor a little bit.
Oh, dude, I would love to see a watercolor from you.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, one thing I really enjoy about it is that it's like you can play with gradients in an interesting way. You know,
Yeah,
it's watercolor, right? It's not. It's like
it's the coolest.
yeah. So so you can. I'll tell you one thing I like to do. I'll start with like a dab over here, and then I'll just push that paint out towards the edges. So you'll have like the most opaque part over here, then the most translucent part over here. So I've already figured out how to do that with the watercolors, right? It's like
Yeah,
translated one skill to another. You know, again, like crossing fields. Like started with drawing, I know how to do line work, I know how to do shading, all that stuff, and start with it. Then I've self-taught acrylic. I've never taken a painting class. I've never taken a like honest to God painting class, right?
it's wild.
So acrylics, watercolor.
Has it just been like YouTube University, basically?
I mean, yeah, YouTube. Well, YouTube books. Yeah, when you have an idea of like what something should look like, which I've like honed myself over many years with drawing.
I was gonna say, you have to be able to see it in your head very clearly, huh?
Yeah, or subconsciously too, right? Like,
Yeah.
Know how to do shading. Sometimes I'll fucking forget that I know how to do something, and I'll just like get to it, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I know how to shade.
Oh yeah. I got that with editing all the time.
It's like, oh yeah, I know how
Oh
to
yeah,
do this.
yeah, I've done this.
Like, yeah. So going back to the process question, I've got 2 journals which are really important, and one of them is for studying the masters. And so I've got a list of, we're talking about Goat Mountain here. Okay, this is my Goat Mountain. It's like
I love it.
Yeah, man.
Did you get
Oh yeah. So I'll start with my foundational 4, my 4 most inspirational artists, right? And I've been inspired by many different artists, but these are the big 4 for me. One is Alex Gray, visionary artist Alex Gray. Love his detail, love his mission, love everything in his art. Salvador Dali, surrealist master,
the famous clocks.
The famous clocks. Yep. So everybody knows the clocks. Frank Frazetta, who's like pioneer in American fantasy and sci-fi. I mean, you could say he's like the godfather of fantasy and sci-fi art in the U.S. And the 4th one is Luis Arroyo, who is a Spanish artist, and he does a lot of stuff with like women and monsters, and it's like dark fantasy, right? And I've always kind of had a taste for the dark stuff, which like, oh, this guy's so spiritual. Yeah, I like me some dark shit too, but
it goes hand in hand.
Yeah, I mean, up and down, right? But
the yin yang.
What I love about his art is the highlights, the vividness of what he creates. It's just superb. I mean, you look at the gleam on the steel, the highlights in the hair is just magnificent. I mean, I literally haven't seen another visual artist, like traditional visual artists, do that before. So he uses a combination of acrylic, airbrush, oils, and sometimes some watercolors. Anywho, back to the journal. What I'll do is I'll select different pieces of theirs and I'll study it. So I'll look at the composition, I'll look at the type of material that they used, I'll look at the shading, all that stuff, and I'll deconstruct it. I'll say, like, what do I notice about this? Let me spend time with this piece and see, and write down what is it that stands out. Most importantly, what stands out that I can then implement into my own art? What can I absorb and put back out through my crafts that I want to be there, right? Because when we see an amazing piece of art for the very first time, it's like, your mind is blown. Like the way I like to put it is like you have that awe, like your mind dilates to account for what is coming in, right? You say, oh my God, you know? And so then the more times that you look at that, it's, you don't feel like you did the first time, but you can be analytical about it. You can look at that art, be like, what do I notice? Like what actually stands out? What is, where is the clarity? Where is the focus? All that type of stuff. And so when you can write that down, when you can document that, then you can retain it. You don't have to remember it. You can go back to that journal that, oh, okay, this is what a royal piece looks like and why. Right? So that's the first journal. The second journal is a creative session journal. So I'll like write down what's happening in my sessions. So say I discover a new technique or, something comes through and I want to capture that. I'll write that down, like as specific as, well, I'll tell you a story about, about my Freya piece, what I consider my finest work. And, oh, by the way, I just found this out yesterday. Apparently, so I entered this into the beautiful, bizarre magazine Raymore Art Prize some time ago. And while I didn't win the grand prize, I just found out yesterday that I'm actually featured on their website, like for art design. Yeah, dude. Oh my God, I was so excited.
That's almost better.
Yeah, dude. So Freya's getting her due. Oh my goodness.
Dude, that's dope.
Everybody loves Freya. Everybody loves Freya.
Yeah.
But just had to mention that real quick. Anywho.
That's a big win. Celebrate that. Hell yeah.
I'm stoked. Anyways, so while I was creating that piece, I start with the face. The face is like the most, it allows me to see a presence, to feel a presence coming through the artwork. Like I want to feel like there's a real person coming through that art and staring back at me. When I can capture that feeling, then I feel like I'm doing my job at that point, right? So I did her face first, and went through a lot of different iterations, but finally arrived where she is. So I was working on the neck, right? And this is one of those moments where it's like I actually like forgot the shade. I like forgot that. So I'm balancing musculature, skin tone, lighting, all these different considerations, right? And I kept doing this technique like this, like trying to push around the paint from side to side. It just was not working at all. And I was getting so pissed off. And this was like 20 some hours in, right? That I just on the neck, like just trying to figure the neck. Again, hello, not self-taught, figuring this stuff, or it's self-taught, no painting class, figuring this stuff out. So I put down that brush and I stepped away for a moment, and I picked up another brush. I got a round brush, and intuitively what I did was I took a dab of the black paint and I put that on the canvas. I took that brush and then I wet it, and then I dried it off some with the paper towel. And instead of going side to side, I did a straight on motion like this, went like that. And lo and behold, hallelujah, it did exactly what I wanted it to do. I was able to achieve smooth shading with that. And I was just absolutely exhilarated that I'd discovered that. And so I'm like, well, I am damn sure going to write that down.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm not like spending so many hours in the future.
Especially when there's so many techniques, like you have to be able to be, keep them straight. Do you have those saved online anywhere? You should.
Well, okay, so I'll tell you one other thing that I'm working on.
Yeah.
This has been on the back burner for a little bit, but I have this thing I've been putting together called the Tome of Tomes. And what that is is it's a compilation of all sorts of different techniques, all like if you want to paint water, if you want to paint steel, if you want to paint like all the or draw all these different
That's
things.
really cool.
Yeah, like
It's like it's like you're basically making a book for techniques.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, that oh man, I'm so grateful I remembered that. I'm so grateful I was able to talk about that here. Yeah, so
I'm
that's
just saying, like, if you have like a journal is awesome, but like worst case scenario, right? Like a fire happens, you need to have it on like a Google document or something to where you know it's safe.
no, you're totally right. You're totally right. So that's yeah.
Dude, that's awesome.
Digitized. Definitely going to be digitized.
No, I love it. It was great because my next question was like the approach to making kind of fantastical elements feel real. And I think you just covered it is like you start with the face so that you see a creature, you see a person, you see the soul of what you're making so you can have a relationship with it. Like that's so cool.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because like when you can feel it, there's always a point in the process where I can feel like a life force coming through. You know, I'm really reminded of what Michelangelo said is like that he would chip away the stone to reveal the angel that he could see underneath. You know,
Yeah.
so there's definitely a revealing element that that happens. You know,
It's crazy.
Hey friends, it's your podcast buddy Noah Midman here, and I want to talk to you a little bit today about one of my passion projects, my clothing brand, Clothing for Creators. Roll the tape.
If my life were a movie, the hero's big speech would end with, "Stop waiting, start creating." Because that's the drive behind my story. Like when I couldn't afford to finish film school. So instead, I started my own production company and gave myself a trial by fire YouTube business degree. And it's not just me with these kinds of stories. There is this growing movement of passionate, creative, flow state writing, hustling, persistent creators and entrepreneurs that are taking the internet and the world by storm.
Everybody told me I wasn't going to be able to make any money as an artist. Now, 15 years later, I've worked on 3 continents. I do own my house. My shop, I'm booked out 8 months ahead. I don't subscribe to being a starving artist.
Creativity and I are very deep, dark lovers. I've just decided I'm just going to make stuff. And even if it's not perfect, like, it's getting made.
You're going to think that there's right answers and there's not. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Let's just throw dye on it and it'll look great.
You don't need rules some old guy in a suit made up. You don't need anyone telling you that your voice doesn't matter. We are makers, creative types, side hustlers, doers. Why? Because we get shit done.
The most important thing every single day is just to get your shit done.
Just keep doing it, keep producing, keep creating, and as you do that, you're going to start becoming the person that you want to be.
Don't be scared to try. Commit. You can't half-ass do something. We're full-ass around here.
So there's a film you need to make, a company you need to create, a voice you need to share, a product you know the world needs. Put all of yourself into it until anyone who has ever doubted you starts asking you for a job. Then you get to play for a living. You get to create community.
Partnerships, collaborations, building bonds with people that like the same stuff you like.
You get to live with your heart on your sleeve, a smile on your face, and a solid answer to when anybody asks, why do you do what you do?
Sometimes you have to say fuck all the rules to get something that you really need to get out of yourself.
You don't need the opinion of the old guy in the suit.
You have to give yourself permission to just go. A little less conversation, a little more action.
Clothing for Creators. Go check out snowmanfilms.shop today.
Hey there, fellow creatives. Conversations with Creators dives deep into the minds of successful filmmakers, artists, musicians, and all-around awesome people. We are looking for some kick-ass sponsors to help us keep this show on the road. If you want to reach a tribe of dedicated listeners who are just as passionate about creating as you are, then look no further. Our audience is full of people who appreciate a good laugh and are always on the lookout for new ways to fuel their creativity. So, let's team up and create some magic together. We'll work with you to make sure that your brand is showcased in the best light possible. And who knows, maybe we'll even become lifelong friends. Just imagine, years from now, we'll be reminiscing about the good old days when we first teamed up to take the world by storm.
send us an email at noah@snowmanfilms.net to say hey and get the ball rolling. Now back to the episode. I love it. That's that's what I feel like. That's what true creation is when it's like, again, it's revealing itself to you. And this, by the way, is something that me and Matt are completely obsessed with, which is flow state.
What the hell is that?
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't talk about it at all. Because no, I mean, that's speaking. I mean, and that's like, it's crazy because that is, speaking of art and spirituality and all this stuff, like that is the high. When you're in flow state, you are at your best potential as a human. That is everything that is positive, everything that is, all the energy is coming through you into what you're making. And that is just, it's true creation. It's beautiful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, that segues as well into something that I'm incredibly passionate about and have been really feeling more and more, which is that legacy that's going to be behind through my life.
Yeah. Your work.
Yeah. That's something I've been focusing on more and more clearly, especially really recently. It's like being able to help people unlock that creative aspect within themselves and find that flow state, really find that vitality through whether it's drawing, drawing just happens to be my main route, or painting happens to be my main route, being able to tap into that yourself and be able to share that with other people around you. Like, my plan is to leave a global legacy of creativity. That's what I've devoted my life to, is to helping people unlock that within themselves through whatever your thing is, like whatever your medium is. And also as a mythic artist, being able to really represent myself and be represented at the highest level that I possibly can through mythic art. So
I mean, like, literally, that's what art is. It leaves behind. It is your work that you've put out that leaves. It's going to last long after we're all gone, and it is your mark on the world. That's my YouTube channel.
That's right.
Like, it's so cool that, the kids in, call it 20, 30 years, even longer, can like see me young and doing what I do, like all the parkour videos and stuff. Like, just the art projects that's, you can feel the soul of somebody in that, and you can feel the soul in your work. And you get to, that's why it's just, I think it's the highest calling, is to be a creator.
That's absolutely. And, imagining your kids, like, being able to look back so many years in the future and be like, these were the steps that Daddy took to build the empire he built.
Yeah. We were talking about our businesses before we got on, and we both have some exciting things happening, and we're building the empire, which I am. Speaking of which, actually, this is great. This is a good tidbit. So I have a closing song after I close a new client, so I can have a minute to like celebrate. And and it is of course I forget the goddamn name of it. Hold up. It used to be Gary V's Daily V song, like the intro song.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Legendary by Welshly Arms.
Yes.
It just has this big, like, oh my God. Hold up. My fucked up. Just a sec.
Thank you so much for reminding me of that. I do remember that.
Hey, we're back. All right. It just has this big feeling of like, this is legendary. We're building something crazy here.
Yes. Awesome. Such a compliment.
No, I love that, because hopefully later today I'll be playing that song. I have a meeting and hopefully it closes a new client. But when you have a tradition, it's just setting up like a tradition of celebrating, because we need to celebrate as much as possible in life, because it's so rare. it happens so not, it happens so infrequently that when you really take the time to celebrate the wins and then they happen more and more, you can feel the momentum building. So that's just what's it started when so it actually changed. It used to be a different song that I closed a client on, and it was I went across the street to get a coffee afterwards, and that song was playing in the coffee shop, and I was like, oh my God, this is my closing song. This is sick. So, but then I have now, that worked, and it also kind of, it felt good, but it didn't, I needed a bigger feeling, because it was like, cool, this is good for now, but this is not like the level that I want to get to. And Legendary feels like the level of, building the dream life.
Yes. When you can document that as well.
Oh yeah.
So I have a way of celebrating.
Yeah, tell me.
I like to capture different moments and figure out why they happen. I have a handful of people that I'll identify, like have bought a piece of artwork or have attended a workshop or whatever, like that transaction has been made with that person and they've gained something from it. The way I like to say it, but my term is like a sale is a whale. So by that, I mean, not only do you have like money going to the bank account, you also have a hopefully happy customer, client, whatever, but you also can have the story of how it happened. So I have this document I call the Tales of Sales. So I'll document from the point where I met that person to the interactions that occurred leading up to that person making that purchase and anything beyond that, right? So whether someone bought a tapestry, a t-shirt, hoodie, went to a workshop, whatever, all that stuff, I'll document how it happened. Then at the bottom of that, we'll say, like, what was my relationship like with this person? What can I tell about this person? Like, what kind of profession do they have? All that type of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I'll start connecting the dots.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Because what's better than making one sale is being able to make another sale again and again and again and again and again.
Yeah.
Because if you can multiple different ways that you can sell to people and you can identify those ways that are super high yield, then you can figure out where to focus your energy. You can figure out like these type of things lead to these types of results. Yep. It's commonly, other ways that, it takes a lot of effort, spinning my wheels in the dirt, all that stuff like that,
Yeah.
And so you can really hone in, like, these are when I do this, like this really works really well.
Correct.
Then you can start to hedge your bet. You can start to hedge your odds in really intelligent ways, right?
Welcome to the podcast, aka the School of Entrepreneurship.
That's right.
No, I'm exactly the same, man. I'm really focusing my efforts on retainer clients. So it's, I call it the subscription package because everybody knows what subscriptions are. So monthly content is, and not only that, but doing written contracts for 6 months or a year of monthly content, because that's repeat business. And hopefully by the end of that 6 months or a year, they'll be happy with the results and then we just continue doing it.
Oh, well, there you go. Get your subscribers going, man. That's the best. Oh, another really
good
segue.
I know, this is fantastic.
Yeah. So I've been forming this club, which I call the Collector Champion Club. And right now it's like, I've got all the parts and pieces. I need a few things to really like set it in motion. But the purpose behind that is really building that following, building that loyalty with people that, are closest and to support the art, the business over long term. And what that's comprised of is, well, anyone who like purchases any sort of thing is eligible to be in it if they want to. So you got perks, discounts, first invites to events, you've got studio visits, things like that. And I've gotten some help on my website and figured out how to do this. where you could even get badges for different things that you purchase on the website, right? So say you're like a member on the website and you buy a Freya t-shirt or something, then you could have like a custom badge that I make that really makes you feel like a collector, right?
As I say, you gotta catch them all.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. By all means, yes, catch them all, right? So then it's really a fun way of gamifying the whole process, and that's something I've keyed into more and more is like the way that we interact with games. You know, the way we love games. So I've been
achievements.
I've been right. So like in an online game where you do a certain thing and you get an achievement, and you could say, you know, you're trying to collect all these achievements. It's that same type of mentality, right? Like, oh, you know, I unlocked the thing, and it's like this cool, rewarding thing. But
just had a light bulb moment.
Yeah, at the very
just had a light bulb moment.
At the very
and this is hold up. I hate to interrupt you, but it's literally you said gamify, and oh my God, I'm gonna get custom coins made for clients that do 12 months of content with us. You hit your year coin and keep going.
Yes.
Like,
oh my God.
Like in AA, you get your like chip.
Yeah.
Or I do like a custom coin. That's dope. Anyway, thank you for that.
That's brilliant. I love it. That's awesome.
I love that. Gamifying, man. It's great. No, I agree completely. It makes it so fun for people.
It does. And gamifying with a mission as well. So that's really the whole central part. It's like within all the fun, within all the perks and the bells and whistles and goodies and stuff like that, is the intention is to build the inner circle of people who are committed to promoting this mission of creativity and self-awareness through mythic art, through spiritual art in the world, you know, and hopefully those are, people who want to go out and spread the word, people who want to, you know, who are going to bring people in, right? And so it's just, you know, to me, it's like a whole all around winning situation to have.
That's great.
So that
it makes it fun for them. By the way, when people talk about brand, like having a brand is not a company. A brand is an experience, and this kind of stuff is what a brand is built on.
Yes.
It's the experience of you, the experience of working with you, the experience of being in your circle, all that stuff. I love that so much. It's what sets you know, the truly great people and companies and cultures. It's creating culture.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a really cool idea. I love that. I love that you're just doing so much with that. It's awesome.
Thank you. I'm incredibly excited, and really that's going to be such a central thing that helps every other thing. And I'll tell you my number one goal right now, like what my number one aim is building that community. It's like building that base of supporters who are going to sustain that mission, who are going to sustain Quantum PO into the future, right?
Yeah.
So let's just say, you know, like I've spent so many thanks to you. I've gotten to this point, like got so much of my marketing figured out. Like,
yeah, you're on it now, man. I'm impressed from like, there's so many ideas that you're just you're executing on. It's fucking epic.
Yeah. Thank you. And, you know, getting to be represented, sorry, there's a fly. Beautiful Bazaar Magazine, Rocky Mountain PBS. That was dope. Super dope. Yeah. All this representation, all the.
You should, by the way, put those like moments up in your space.
Oh yeah.
Like, if you can get the spread on the magazine or whatever, like that's huge.
Dude, that's coming too. That's all like featured by this person, that person, and the other. Yeah. been, like I said, developing myself as a salesperson, all this type of stuff. And then I realized, what's the one thing that's missing? What's the one thing that makes everything else work? Oh, having like a huge following that is made up of people who are enthusiastic about the art, which is definitely happening. There's definitely like people who are very enthusiastic, and I feel like I have gotten a good base of supporters there. But yeah, if I were to focus on one thing, if I were to focus on say I focused on absolutely just one thing over the next year or 10 years, just laser focus on that one thing of building up those supporters. Like,
yeah. It's focus. It's
game over.
You start with the light bulb moment. I love it that we're talking about it, and then I had one in the episode. I fucking love that. Anyway, you start with the motivation, and then as you said, you focus on the one thing, and that's where the discipline comes in. And discipline outworks motivation all day long, because motivation is flying cloud. Motivation comes, and some days you don't feel it. So, discipline is your schedule being blocked out with what the fuck you're going to do that day, and you're going to get it done.
Yes, absolutely. And when you can have clarity about those different actions, then that is going to help so much over the
huge. Yeah, exactly.
Knowing myself, I've definitely fallen into this, is if I am not clear on what the action is that's going to be leading to that result, then that's going to stifle my action, right?
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what I've been doing most recently. Again, thank you for the concept of the Dream 100, right?
Yeah.
So got the Dream 100.
Thank you, Russell Brunson, for giving it to me.
Yeah. For who? Who was that?
Russell Brunson of ClickFunnels is the original person that I heard that from.
Big ups to Russell Brunson.
Yes, sir.
So I've actually updated that Dream 100, which you're on that, by the way. Thank you.
Hey.
This is awesome. Yeah. So listed that out, and with plans to contact these different entities, right? And so I want to go in detail, like what's gonna be a good impression, like what's gonna, how best to endear myself to these different companies. So I'll share another really awesome win recently, because shouldn't be a surprise by this point. I'm a huge fan of Joseph Campbell, and it's long been an ambition to reach out to the Joseph Campbell Foundation. So initially I tried on from their website, I sent an email. It was like simple introduction. Hey, I'm Matt Maes. I just want to introduce myself and create mythic art, all that kind of stuff. Didn't get a response, but I also follow them on Instagram. So this is all I did. I just DM'd them like, hey, I just want to introduce myself. I'm Matt Maes. I've been a huge fan of Joseph Campbell. He's had a tremendous influence on myself as a person and as an artist, and just wanted to say hello. And guess what? Somebody actually wrote back.
Wow.
Yeah. So I got.
All you can do is ask.
Literally, somebody was like, "Hey, thank you so much for writing. He had a great influence on me as well, and thank you for writing." And I looked at that, I'm like, "Oh my God, they wrote someone fucking."
Yeah, man.
Oh, and in there, I'm going to share this with my team. So I'm like, oh shit.
So it's actually crazy, because not only for my business, but for the podcast, the Instagram DM has been, it is such a powerful thing, because it's not like Facebook, you can kind of get through. Twitter, you have to be following them, or they have to be following you to actually talk to them. Instagram, you can DM anybody. So, I've gotten a couple of guests that have like several million followers on, that are creators of different types because of an Instagram DM. Yeah.
Wow. That's powerful, dude.
which is great. And like they're, it started not just about the followers. It starts that they're like really, really cool creators. But that and, Instagram DM for that, and as well as for business inquiries and like trying to pitch new clients, the LinkedIn Sales Navigator is incredible.
Ooh, LinkedIn.
Yeah, reaching out on LinkedIn when it's business-based, people are in that mindset already. And you can send messages, you can start conversations, and, not everybody responds, but a lot of people do.
No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, the story doesn't end there.
Oh, keep going.
Oh, yeah. So after I got that response, I felt a little more enthusiastic. And I was like, well, what if I did a really awesome sketch of Joseph Campbell? Like I picked out a picture of his, like a good picture of Joseph Campbell online. And I did the honest to God best pencil sketch I think I've probably ever done. I think it's probably my best one. Right. And so then I took a picture of it, and I was like, I sent it to him. I'm like, hey, I just felt really inspired, and I wanted to share this with you, and, hope you're having a blessed day. So would love to know what you think. And within about 5 minutes, they respond, nice work. Like the thing is like, wow. So,
yeah.
So there was the big lesson I got from that, which I'd love to share.
You should send them a physical copy of it.
Oh, that's a wonderful idea. It's like
they can hang it.
You think that these people are just so like unreachable and so untouchable, But if you think about it, how many people are thinking that exact same thing of like, oh, they probably won't see it, they probably won't respond, all that stuff, and so forth, that message doesn't get sent, And so ironically, the higher up you go, that you think people might not respond, right? And the more people that think that hold that very common attitude, your message actually might have a higher chance of standing out, because there are so many people that think that and therefore don't send that message.
That's correct.
Right. And if you're genuine about it, like you just start up, not like asking something, you're just like, hi, hello. And and it's someone who you feel really connected with, someone who you feel really inspired by, then like I think you're in a really good position to actually make an impression with them.
Yeah.
We're actually genuine about it. Then,
by the way, if you want to take it a step further, to actually like meeting them and talking with them, start a podcast.
Which reminds me,
straight up, start a podcast, and you can be like, hey, I have a show, I'd love to have you on. Think about, and I've heard this said several times, like the mentality of, hey, can I talk with you for an hour is probably going to be a no, but hey, do you want to be on my show is probably much more likely to be a yes.
Which leads me to the program that myself and my very, very good friend, yes, I have one, which me and my very dear friend Scott Mason have put together. We have a thing called Mythic Monday.
Sick.
And we actually just had an episode today. This is on Instagram Live. This is,
of course, a program. I thought you have a show. There you go.
Yeah. So this is born out of our shared love of mythology. And so Scott, aka the Myth Slayer, is a transformational executive leadership coach. And what he does is he works with professionals to rewrite these stories that we get stuck in and put us more in tune with those that are going to align with our destinies, right? So he does this through the lens of mythology, right? And of course, if you haven't picked up on it, I love me some right? So we created this called Mythic
He only
Monday.
watches documentaries, people. No.
So on Mythic Monday, we pick a specific mythic figure. This week was none other than Anubis, the Egyptian god of the dead, and we'll go into their narrative to see like what's the meaning that we can find within their story. So Scott does most of the talking for the front half of the show, and I create a live sketch while he's talking.
Sick.
Yes, and
Dude, that's so good.
people absolutely love it. We have numerous people who show up like week after week to check this out.
Awesome. Is it on Twitch? Where are you doing it?
No, it's on Instagram Live, and we do this. We do this at 8 a.m. on Mondays, or if you're on the East Coast, it's 10 a.m. And so then at the end, we'll come together and have a dialogue about like what's coming through the art, what's coming through the meaning of the story. I'll get a chance to give like my take on the interpretation of the myth, and so we just more our 21st episode today,
dude.
Yeah.
Okay, that's huge because what I think I've told you about shows, but most shows don't make it past 3 episodes.
Yeah,
like, literally, that's actually the crazy thing. So for podcasts specifically, which you can actually, by the way, you should. Is there any way to save? It's because I know a live is good, but if there's a way to save the video, putting that up on YouTube or whatever would be great.
Yeah, well, I tell you, that's definitely been a conversation. We've definitely had like a lot of people ask, if they can see the episode after the live version, and I'll tell you, the conversation that we've had is like one. Well, I was afraid that we're concerned that like it might take away from the purity of showing up at that time, right? Because you and I remember growing up, like, you wanted to see your favorite show, you would like tune in at that kind of sacred time for that show, right? So we have a lot of engagement, a lot of
that's done now with streaming.
Right. Let me finish though. Right. So if someone goes like, oh, I don't want to do it. Like, I want to, just catch the episode, whatever, when it comes out, that's for things. So there's definitely a dynamics between availability and some exclusivity, like exclusivity.
Yeah, for sure.
That time, right? So we didn't want to take away from that. However, we have had so many requests for that, and today, one of our very loyal, members, people, Bibiana, she showed up on our show, and she was like, hey, I can't always make it at this time. Could you post this? So we posted that. Scott posted that as a reel.
Yeah.
And so this one is available as a reel, so you can check that out. But I swear, you're like probably the 6th person who's asked if they could see outside of the live version. So
we're in the time now of we like to do things on our time when it works for our life. That's why streaming has done so well. Is because you don't have to wait. Sometimes you have to wait, like, to see your episode every week, but like you can also binge. Like it's, you have people that'll just watch 20 episodes, in a row. So I think having the option, like obviously the exclusive thing is like great. What I would even say is you can maybe wait a week. So, have the live thing that's only out at that time for a week, and then you put up the thing, so they can still have that experience of like, oh, cool, it's live right now, and we don't have to wait for the next one. Having both, I think, is great.
Yeah, well, that's one thing that stands true is like you really won't get the same experience as it being live. Like there's always going to be the benefit of like being live, being able to ask your questions and like
100%, yeah, because you're part of that.
Comment on the art. Oh yeah, like
the interaction there is amazing.
Oh yeah, and this is something that Scott is just so wonderful at as a host. You know, like every time that someone comes on, it's like like he'll so often like stop what he's saying, be like, I have to stop it all. I have to welcome this person to this. You welcome. He's just like he's so rad. It's just like his whole energy.
Cool.
So awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that even if you post them, they'll want to. I would say probably more people will come to the live thing when you have, because they want that special, like that VIP treatment of like you're actively interacting. That's huge.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, you can't really replace that.
Yeah,
for sure.
I agree. So a little outside of the career, I'm interested because you have so many aspects of your life that you're up to. What is a hobby that makes you like relax and takes you away from it all?
Oh man. You know, I have a number of things I love to do. As far as the creative, I've learned to really love dancing. Like Lena and I we go out dancing. We've got Love Language is kind of one of the holdouts, like a bunch of her very good friends. A group of her friends, they put together like this house music type event every month, right? So we try
That's awesome.
go pretty often. We're not like
yeah,
but we love going. Another one is Rhythm Sanctuary. They are in Weepish, and that's pulled like an ecstatic dance type vibe, which I find
you broke up a little. So it was Rhythm Sanctuary.
Rhythm Sanctuary, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Which I find I really connect with that, and love to dance that way, regardless of the setting, right? So I'll be at Love Language, or I'll be wherever where there's dancing, and I don't really have a name for like the style and the way that I dance. The clothes.
It's just Matt.
It's just me, right? The closest, a joke though, the closest comparison would be, I don't know if you do you remember the Fatboy Slim video, Weapon of Choice?
Yeah,
where
Christopher Walken.
No doubt. Yeah, so it's a long like
video.
Very.
I have to see that in person. I would love to see that because I am a b-boy, and that's pretty much the extent of. I would, but it's so like if I don't have moves to do, I feel just moving is hard for me. So like, I want to get better at that. But I can tell you have the freedom.
Just bust out, man. Just just doing what the sound waves come through me, like how I feel like I want to do with the music,
I love it. That's the best. It's the freest form of expression you can have right there with dance.
Yeah. I mean, when you have the music, when you have the bass going through, and you can feel it coming up through your feet. Oh man. Oh God.
By the way, that's going to be one thing that when we are living our rich lives, more concerts is going to be happening. Because we just had, the only reason we haven't gone is because we don't have the money. Like, we love live music, and it's just, absolutely more concerts and more apps games.
Fantastic. Get it, man.
Oh yeah, man. Well, let's wrap up here. Let me roll out the red carpet for you. Tell people what you have going on in your life and where they can find you and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to, I've got a few different shows happening right now. I've got one that is happening this Friday. It's at the Mirrors Gallery in collaboration with Catalyst Crystals and Jewelry. And it's an after hours event. And I'm going to be doing live painting, vending, and also an unveiling that night. It's my first unveiling. I've been working on this
very intensely
for over a year and a half now. So
it's epic.
Very, very special. And there's another show in November with Redline Contemporary Art Center. I'm part of the core art group over there. And we're all doing a show that is based around like the metaphysics, spirituality, what's happening with us right now. And I have a few pieces that I'm completing for that show. Oh, that's sweet.
You're grinding. I love it.
Dude, 3 pieces I'm working on for that one. And yeah, like I said, just the number one thing is generating that base of supporters. And so that's one thing I love to call in and
get out there.
That's the number one thing right now. It's just
what Instagram account is that show on?
It's Quantum Keyhole Studio, all one word.
Sweet.
Yep. You can also find me online. I have a website. It's quantumkeyholestudio.com. Got a link tree. So the way they spell it, linktr.ee/QK Studio, and you can find just about everything. All of
these links will be in the show notes, by the way, so you can go check this man out and buy something, for God's sake. Buy something from him. He's incredible.
Awesome. Yeah. And speaking of, so the different things I've got on offer, I'm very proud of the array of different products I've been able to create, at a range of prices, a range of, different availability and stuff like that. I've got t-shirts, I've got tapestries, hoodies. I actually need to bring in another order of hoodies. They're freaking awesome. I have a t-shirt, I have a hoodie as well. I love wearing them. Greeting cards. I also do commissions. And one thing I specialize in, if you feel compelled to invest into a custom piece for yourself, I love being able to do mythic figures that you may personally align with. So say you're someone who's like, you feel that like warrior charge, something like that. You're like, I feel like drawn to Achilles, like powerful warrior with a spear, shield, and like, invincible, and all that stuff like that. Like, paint you as Achilles. How about that? And,
dude. For me and Shorty, it's Vikings.
Yes.
Like she gave me like a kind of not photo, but like a one of those like printout drawings or whatever of us and the kids as Vikings, which I want to continue. Like when we went to Norway, we went to the Viking Museum. And we usually get it's the coolest thing in Oslo, which is, sorry if you live in Oslo, it's pretty boring city. but because we were wanting fjords and hill, just the classic, and we were just on the wrong side of the country for it, and it's fine. But what we did get from the museum was a little metal Viking ship, and it's up on the mantle, and it's because that's our I heard there's a great metaphor for marriage or relationships in general with a ship, which is you got to keep it balanced. It can't be too far to either side and going off course, or it'll sink. So if you keep it balanced and you keep the communication open, you're gonna be together for a long time.
Brilliant. Oh my God, a relationship. That makes so much sense.
You motherfucker. That's genius. See, relationship. I think down the line I need to commission our Viking family on our relationship from you.
Oh, dude, I'm about it. Let's make it happen. Absolutely.
Dude, thank you so much for being on. This has been an absolute blast, and you're my guy forever. And just congrats on all the success. And dude, me and Matt occasionally will check in with each other to just celebrate wins and celebrate our both of our growth. And just so happy to continue to do that with you. And we're both still on it, and it's just awesome.
Same here, brother. And I've started to pay more and more attention to like the people who I find show up more in my life, consciously and subconsciously, like whose name pops up most often, and your name consistently pops up,
Oh yeah.
Just over the years.
Long time friend.
Talking about, the friendship, and the friendship
just gonna keep going.
continues over the years. You know, it's like what shores.
Same thing with friendship with a ship. You know, you gotta. It takes two to have a friendship. It's not just the people that you constantly hit up and that don't hit you back up. Like, it's not a true friendship there because it's not balanced.
Exactly. So, what shores may we encounter and find glory on the other side, and find our fortunes, and building the life of our dreams. Damn it.
Yeah. Yes. That's how we're ending the episode. That amazing freaking metaphor, which is what you do best. And dude, you're just such an eloquent speaker. I love it.
Oh, thank you. Oh, and by the way, so for those who are still on at this point too.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to our ramblings.
Yes. So I do actually factually aspire to public speaking as well, and I find that
you'd be good at it.
Thank you. I find that as an artist, that could be such an immensely powerful tool to be able to reach people and to build that support with like the right people who hear that message. So that's something I feel really passionate about.
Go after it, man.
And I've started going after some of these different opportunities, like like actually recording me speaking and putting together a speaker, like I'm actually going after it, And
yeah. Hold up. I'm going to see if I'll send it to you afterwards. I have a website that is I'm not sure if I've sent it to you already, but is a resource for finding speaking gigs.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. Because I think you would do, hold up. But no, I want to say it on here because it'll help everybody else. Speakerhub.com.
Speakerhub. Oh, I've heard of that. Wait, you may have told me.
So you make a profile and you say what the subjects you can speak on, and then you can go actively find potential, you can go pitch speaking gigs for yourself. So yeah, definitely get on that. Anybody who wants to get into that, check that resource out.
Nice. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
So, well, Joe, this has been an absolute blast. I appreciate it, and I will see everybody next time.